Is Will Anderson the true X factor for the Houston Texans heading into the 2024 season with high expectations? Let's revisit the Will Anderson trade 51 weeks after it was made, which also happens to be his jersey number. Let's hear from the man himself early in the offseason, exclusively with myself and my radio partner, John Lopez, and then the start of year two. Let's evaluate the Will Anderson situation here in the locker room.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the locker room on YouTube. You know what it is. Let's get it. Hey. Locker room. Yeah, we in the locker room.
It was one of the wilder moments in Houston Texans draft history. It was definitely the wildest moment of last year's draft, which was 51 weeks ago. And we'll be talking about number 51, Will Anderson. Is the locker room number one source for Texans digital content. I'm Landry Locker. You can hear me Monday through Friday, 10 to 2 Central, Sports Radio 610, the Odyssey app. You can see me right here in the locker room. We're also on YouTube on the radio show. By the way, uniforms getting dropped 10 a.m. on Tuesday. Cal McNair, Hannah McNair in the studio with myself, J-Lo, and Figgy Fig 1 hour after that happens. And that should be really, really interesting. I might get taken to task on some of the stuff I've said about the unis, which is all good. Let's go back, though, 51 weeks, and let's remember the Will Anderson trade. And I was actually on the scene. I was at the draft party in the section where the players were. They had the second-year guys in attendance, and this is what it looked like when the announcement was made that moments after C.J. Stroud was selected, Will Anderson would also be a member of the Houston Texans.
The Houston Texans select Will Anderson.
Look at Damien, he's confident. Kenny Green shaking his head. He's on the wall. See the fans, crazy. Christian Harris, you know he's happy. That's the guy. Christian Harris saying, shut it down, let's go home. You got Kenyon, they walk out, they saw the announcement. Good. David Pierce goes roll tide, Christian Harris dips out. And there you go. And it was a viral moment. It was an exciting time for the Texans and for the fans. And it was also a move that led to a lot of controversy, a lot of people questioning whether or not the Texans gave up too much, giving up obviously the first in 2023, number 12, then the first this year, which ended up being 24, and then you gave up the second round pick last year, which was in the early 30s. My question when evaluating these trades, and we can get into how the trade looks at the moment. You do have the reigning defensive player of the year, but my question is this, and we'll hear from Will Anderson in a sec. Why is extra equity ignored when making aggressive moves? Like the Texans made the move for Stephon Diggs, in which they acquired the extra second round pick, and they threw that extra second round pick to the Buffalo Bills, and it doesn't get mentioned. You just look at the extra draft equity on the surface. The Will Anderson trade, you had extra picks because of the Browns trade. And that's not looked at as a factor in why you're willing to be aggressive. As a matter of fact, it's getting compared to trades in which teams didn't have draft equity, and as a result, they set themselves back. The Texans, even with the Will Anderson trade, even with the Stephon Diggs trade, they maintained full draft equity. They maintained full draft equity. And it's like going to a casino. If you have extra money and you have house money, are you going to be a little bit more aggressive? Like if you get a $500 chip comp, or whatever, and you're playing roulette, are you going to still put the same bet on the numbers or the red and black? Is that what you're going to do? Because I think it should be factored in. I do think it matters, but I do understand somewhat the criticism of the Will Anderson move, and I'm sure we'll look back and wonder, what could they have had at 12 and 33? But so far, it's been pretty good. Will Anderson is the defensive player of the year. The C.J. Stroud situation is interesting because you have C.J. Stroud. obviously as the face of the franchise. But I do think it's interesting. And I remember when Mike Lombardi reacted to this after it was made. The move was made. Here was what Mike Lombardi had to say moments after or a day after the Will Anderson move was made. This was on the GM Shuffle presented by
The words
Draft.
that came out, they weren't picking a quarterback. Just weren't. I mean, Schefter reported it. I reported it. Everybody knew it. I think what happened in Houston was the owner said, "Look, fellas, I want a quarterback. You figure it out."
Mm-hmm.
And so I think what Nick did was solve the problem. I think Nick said, "Okay, what quarterback could we take? Which one do we want? And here are the two players." I think there was a mandate. And I think he wanted Anderson. I think they paid as if Stroud was at 3. That's my point of the whole conversation.
Okay.
They just overbid. I don't think Tennessee was ever going to pay this, nor do I don't even know if Tennessee was in it. There might have been some other teams in it from 3 to 7, but this blew anybody else out of the water. So what I'm saying to everybody is, from a mindset of a general manager, is basically, you paid this for the quarterback. You paid quarterback value.
And I agree with him. I think it was a package deal. I 100% think it was a package deal. I don't necessarily. I roll my eyes at the notion that Cal and Hannah, and we know him well. My show knows him better than 99% of the people speaking on this. I can assure you of that. They'll be in studio on Tuesday, but I roll my eyes at the notion that Cal and Hannah just forced D'Amico Ryans and Nick Caserio to make the move and go get the quarterback. I think that there's a chance that there was a split consensus in the room. And we actually put a video up about this before the move was actually made. I think there was a split consensus. They knew they had the previously mentioned extra draft equity, which, again, I'm going to ask the question again. I don't know why this is ignored with the moves that they're making. And they decided they could get both. And I don't think that the price would have been what it was to get Will Anderson had it been CJ Stroud. I think the price would have been higher. I don't think you're just giving up what the Texans gave up to move up to 3. If you take Will Anderson first and you're going up for CJ, you're going to have a lot of teams interested in going and getting CJ Stroud. There was reports that a lot of people like CJ Stroud more. The price to get the quarterback is always more than the price to go get the D lineman. So I looked at it as a two-step type of deal. And whether or not that's been a good trade it's really to be determined. I will say this, though, when it comes to Will Anderson, I think it's kind of interesting is as good as he was last year. I know the advanced stats loved him, and it's hard not to love him. And I see no scenario where Will Anderson isn't a part of the Texans in the future, no matter what happens. It does feel like he left a little meat on the bone. It feels like on top of doing all the small things, that Will Anderson has that potential. And we actually saw it when he played the least amount this year, which is what was crazy. When he was hurt against the Tennessee Titans and he played 12 snaps and he had 2 sacks, that almost seems like what won him Defensive Player of the Year, as crazy as that is. And I actually got to speak to Will Anderson. We spoke to him exclusively the night after he won the offense or the Defensive Rookie of the Year. And I just asked Will Anderson about that, the situation, how he looked, et cetera. This is what Will Anderson had to say, just kind of looking at his season and as far as what set him off and all that type of stuff.
Specifically, because look, we have the conversations. It seems like people are obsessed with sacks, and then you hear the advanced stats and all that. What's next for you?
Yeah, it's really just keep building my game and building my craft, and it's just that 1% better, you know. And I was talking to Quentin Williams, and he just sent me a good message. He was just saying, like,
he's a positive dude, man.
Yeah, he's been like a great role model for me. Like, we didn't even play together. Off subject, I'm sorry, but like,
that's good.
We didn't even play together at Alabama, but he stepped into my life, and he's been like a big help, a big brother to me. But he sent me a message this morning, just saying, like, Aaron Donald had told him something like, it's going to be hard to find that 1% because you're great, you're talented, and you're smart. So find that 1% you can get better at. My whole offseason just dedicated to pass rush and just keep building my craft and keep building my arsenal, man. Regardless, I know I can pass rush. I made it to the league. Like, I know what I can do, but how can I get that 1% better?
And I think that's the big difference. And we also talked about how hurt he was. I do think that was a little bit of a factor, but that extra 1%, I mean, like Will Anderson, he cannot find that 1%. Like, there could be a situation, and we'll get back to Will, the exclusive sit down. at the Super Bowl, but he could not find that 1%. He's still going to be a Pro Bowl caliber guy. He's still going to be a perfect culture guy. He's got the right makeup, all that. But if he finds that 1%, I mean, that's where you're talking about, the Max Crosbys, the guys like that on the edge. And I think he's capable. He says he's dedicated to it. We've seen stretches of it, and maybe he puts that together. But that's the good thing about Will Anderson. Does he need to find that extra 1%, though, to justify the trade? I think the extra draft equity needs to be taken into account. I think the fact that he's kind of one of the faces of what they're trying to build here needs to be taken into account. But the one thing I do know is there's kind of a battle on the internet. Shout out to everyone in here. Be sure to subscribe, right along. There is kind of a battle about sacks, and some people are all about the sacks, including myself at times, and some people are all about the advanced stats. Now, I watched that Tennessee game, the first one, and it looked like the defense was fine without Will Anderson. Obviously, he's one of your better players, but they look good. So when you're talking about hidden meaning and the guys off the field and you see them perform at a high level, I asked the question, did they miss Will Anderson there? What are we looking at? If you're one of the people who thinks that too much is putting into sacks and whatnot, I got some news for you. I don't think Will Anderson quite agrees with you.
You're like season. It's weird because I was saying the crazy thing about it is you have a good season from start to finish, but it's I think those 2 sacks kind of put you over the edge. It's like he played 12 snaps, had 2 sacks, and then that's what puts him over the edge. But do we obsess too much over sacks sometimes?
As an edge rusher and as a guy that, knows football and people that know football, it's as the defensive end, I'm going to be 100% honest with you. It's sacks. We crave sacks.
Yeah.
But when you look at the bigger picture, it's bigger than just sacks.
Okay.
It's about how much you're really affecting the game, whether you're making the play or not. How much disruption are you causing? You know what I'm saying? I feel like as a defensive end, it shows a lot. If you're a guy that's causing disruption, wrecking havoc, constantly in the backfield, constantly getting pressure on the quarterback, everything, constantly always around the ball, I feel like you're a top defensive end in this league.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you look at some sacks, you be like, bro, I can go out there.
Yeah, it's just wide open.
You feel like I can go out there and get that.
I did.
He choked in the high school district championship.
We're not getting into
he
that.
choked. He choked.
It was a good run.
Yeah, he didn't come up. He didn't make big plays.
Yeah, it's hard not to like this guy, but there's no doubt he's a Pro Bowl caliber player no matter what. It's that extra 1% that will be interesting to see what he gets, and the jump from year 1 to year 2 can just be really significant. Let's be honest, Max Crosby wasn't Max Crosby after year 1, and Will Anderson's got that same type of makeup, and I know he's already respected. I've heard Crosby shout him out. Let's hear from Will Anderson, though. This was Will Anderson at the podium heading into year 2. And if he does find that extra 1%, is Will Anderson winning you a couple games a season? Is that just as important as what happens on offense? Put that in the comments. Let's hear from Will Anderson.
And wanting to build on last year, what's your mentality for some of the guys in the locker room about wanting to get further and be better this year?
Yeah, I think it's just you seen what we did last year, and you seen how each game we kept getting better and better. And I think that's one thing that we're focusing on is that individual growth, but also that team growth of just seeing how much better we can be if we just cut out the mistakes and everybody just doing the techniques right and taking this time to properly learn how to play within the scheme, how to build those techniques, and how we can be a better team.
How did your off-season regimen change this year from when you were in college?
Oh, it changed a lot, man. No school, no classwork, not having to wake up early and go to study hall or anything like that. It was really fun though. I took a little time off, I think this the first vacation I had in years. So I took a little vacation, man, but really just focusing on my body. It was way better. I could learn about myself more, learn about my body more. I got to work with some great vets over the off season and learn from them as well. So the routine has been really great.
You talk
about working with some of the vets. Have you had an opportunity to work with Danielle Hunter? And if so, what type of pairing do you think you guys will be able to develop?
Yeah, I haven't got a chance to work with him yet, but it was crazy how everything just took place because I got a chance to meet him at Pro Bowl. To come to find out he's with the same agency. So, me and him have been talking back and forth, and man, he's a great guy. He loves ball. He doesn't want to do anything else but play football, and I know he loves cars. But having a guy like that, a vet in the room like that, who can inspire so many of us, teach us so much stuff, and we can learn from him. He has a lot of great tools, a lot of great ability. He has great leadership, and he just knows what it takes to be one of the greats in this league, man. So I'm very eager to learn from him, to play along beside him, and really just see how this thing goes, man. We're really excited.
Well, a lot of the veterans that you were close to are no longer with the organization. How much of their teachings and their talkings and the things that you all were able to connect with on a personal level will you take into the next season?
Oh, most definitely a lot. Without those guys, I wouldn't have been the player I was last year. Those guys instilled so much in me, having a Rank in the room, having a JG in the room, just getting to see them work every day. Me and Rank was really close. Getting to see, him go out there and ball, and he poured so much into me, man. So having a vet like that, man, that took me under his wing, taught me so much. I'm going to take everything that I learned from him and try to, keep implementing it in my game. And I'm really excited to see what he do in Cincinnati, man. I'm wishing him the best, and it's still all love.
All right,
there you go.
That ranked in the top 3 in run stop, win rate, and pass win rate.
Yeah.
Where did you look to improve this season going into your sophomore year?
Yeah, I don't get too caught up in those things, man. The only thing I can keep focused on is how am I getting better? How am I helping the team, reach the goal automatically that we want to reach? And what is my plan going into this season? How am I,
It is easy to see why they like him so much. I love this dude. We've talked to him. We've interviewed him 4 times on the show. Love the dude. Love the dude. He's what they want in that locker room. It's easy to see why you would want to get both him and CJ.
Positioning from my first year to this year, how am I taking that leap? So really, it's not about the statistics, it's not about the stats. It's about individual growth every day. How am I growing? How am I becoming a better player? How am I taking care of my body? How am I doing all these things to help the team?
Well, when you look at a guy like Neil Hunter, he was one major acquisition, but Danico Autry, who's been in the league for over a decade and played multiple positions, also joins this room. What does he provide for this team, not just in leadership, but teaching position flexibility?
Yeah, he just brings a type of different juice to the team, especially the position group, man. He's excited having somebody like that in the group, somebody that can bounce around from the inside to the outside, and it just helps everybody in the room because now teams are like, what is?
I also wonder, between Autry, Anderson, Hunter, and whatever they may add in the draft, where are they going to line up Will Anderson? There was talk about him lining up inside last year. Caserio brought it up unsolicited on 6'10". I do wonder, all these different chess pieces, what D'Amico and Matt Burke might cook up.
This guy's going to line up right here. This guy's going to line up right here. This guy's going to line up right here. So they have to give an account to everybody on the D-line. So it's really exciting to have a guy like that in the room, man. He's very physical. He plays his butt off. I got a chance to watch him last year go against us, and, man, he's very disruptive. So he's another guy that I can't wait to play alongside of.
What are your thoughts on the end of the season of guys coming up to you and saying it looks like you'll have something special there? Did you see that carry over in the free agency? Was anybody reaching out to you being like, hey, I want to be there?
Yeah, it was a lot at the Pro Bowl, man. It was a lot of guys like, yeah, tell them I'm trying to come over there. Tell D'Amico I'm loving what I'm saying, but I'm like, Texas ain't for everybody, man. It's just it's a different type of DNA you have to play here, man. It's a different type of character you have to have, and you just got to love football.
Imagine a world where you're at a Pro Bowl and Pro Bowl players are telling you, hey, we'd like to play there. And you're so confident in what you're building that you're one of your second year guys, 22 years old, is saying, yeah, these are Pro Bowlers, but not all of y'all are what we're looking for. Damn, they've come a long way in the last 51 weeks.
Football, man, and I think, the front office and coach, they do a really good job of choosing the guys that they want to be in here, that, can help change the culture and help keep uplifting the culture and, being a positive impact, not only on the building, but in the locker room as well.
Well, kind of in that same vein, I'm just curious, what have been your thoughts on the different moves that you all made? You talked about Daniil and Danico, but then you all got Stephon.
Yeah.
What have been your kind of overall thoughts?
Yeah, my overall thoughts have just been, man, it's just been a blessing. You know what I'm saying? I think it's a phenomenal thing that is going on here, man. And we really just want to focus on the present right now, man. We got all the pieces that we got. How can we build on it? And it starts right now. It starts with OTAs. It starts with everybody showing up, everybody grinding, everybody getting better. Like I said, focusing on those techniques. And so when we get to the season, we can see how it goes. But right now, man, getting those pieces here, getting that connection, getting the chemistry, and getting all those things in the building right now is what's going to help us.
You feel different walking into the building? Did it feel different walking into the
Here
building?
comes the
Every
Hardo
day
quote.
feels the same.
Here comes the Hardo. Did it feel different walking into the building? Come on, Will.
I walked in with a big smile on my face. Everybody had a big smile on their face, and we was all just excited to see each other, man. But the energy in the locker room has always been great. You know, no matter who we had in there, it's just the type of guys that we have here, man. And I could tell all the new guys that are here, and it's just like, it's crazy because there's
Ain't no way this is the same as last year.
like I said, it's just the people that they chose in the building. It didn't feel like any drop off. Like you see all the new guys, and it's like, dang, they belong here. Like they feel like they've been here already, and I think that's a good thing when you have a locker room like that.
What's your view of the Texans playing the first preseason game in Canton, Ohio, when Andre Johnson's being?
I mean, what does that matter? Let's skip that. What's he supposed to say to that?
Because I heard you were excited, you were jumping up and down like.
Talk about the uniform.
I think they're
now.
dope. I think it really just gives back to the Houston community. I think it really does a really good job of getting the community back involved with football, back involved with, you know, the Texans brand of ball. And I'm really excited for everybody to see them. I know it was a little leak out there, but I'm really excited for everybody to get a chance to see what they got going on here.
Well, you're on the other side of
You and CJ seemed like y'all really hit it off from day one or night one of the draft.
Yeah.
And how do you think that relationship between you guys helped the team last year, and how do you think it will continue to help you guys as you try to do bigger and better things in the future?
Yeah, you know, CJ's a great guy, man. He's easy to work with. Great friend, great brother, great teammate. All the things you ask for in a guy like that, man. And I think we were just being our authentic selves. Like, he gets to be him, I get to be me, and we come together and we just be goofy all the time. And we're just those young selves getting to come to work every day and love football. But we also know that balance of when it's time to get serious. And I think that's what helps us a lot. We have a healthy balance of when to play and, like, when do we need to, like, chill out and we need to lock in. And just his work ethic, man. I think a lot of people in the locker room took note of that very quickly. Like, this guy, he comes to work every day. Like, he wants to be the best. Like, he wants to be the greatest to ever do it. And that's the type of mindset that I have. So seeing a guy like that, that just pushes you more. And it just built that connection through the whole building, because when people see that, they want to feed off that and they want to be a part of that too.
It's your first offseason here, but can you explain, with this being voluntary workouts, the importance of everyone being here and being able to build that relationship before the start of OTAs?
Yeah, it means a lot. Like I said, like having the new guys come in, having some of the older vets in the league come in, it just shows what type of teammates you have and what type of people they are and how special this place is and how they view this place. Coming here with the young guys, get some work in with them, but just build those relationships to, you know, why this person plays football, or, you know, I can teach you this, I can teach you that at an early stage, and OTAs and stuff like that, and building that relationship heading into training camp, heading into the summer. And I think that's what makes this place so special. I think that's what makes the people so special, that the athletes get to come in here early and, you know, build those type of relationships.
Well, the defense is a collective, and how much do you benefit from having a corner like Derek Stingley Jr. behind you?
I'm sorry, I missed the first part of it.
On defense, it's a collective. How much do you benefit on the defensive line from having someone like Derek Stingley Jr. in the back end?
Yeah, we benefit a lot. I was telling this thing, I was like, bro, you still want me to play on your side? Because we had got the deal, and we was joking about that. And I said, bro, like, he's unbelievable, bro. And to see him work every day, to see him come in, he's quiet, he doesn't say much. But when you turn the tape on, you just see him, like, everywhere. Having a guy like that in the back, it makes our job so much easier just to go hunt, be free, and be loose. Because it's like, they throw the Stingley, they crazy. So having a guy back there like that, man, it's really a blessing.
The expectations last year from the outside were very low for you guys.
Yeah.
This year.
All right, get ready for a Hardo quote again. This is going to be the D'Amico on expectations. Get ready for it.
They're astronomical.
Yeah.
You had a high expectations, and you learned quite a bit, I'm sure, at Alabama. What are some of the pitfalls you need to, you know, be aware of and avoid with the expectations coming in this year?
The expectations in the Texans have always been the same. No matter the outside noise, no matter the media, any of that. Like, we have a standard that we have to play to. We have a mentality that we play to, and that's the only thing that we have to play to, is everything that happens in this building. And I would just say complacency. There's no place for that here at all. What we did last year was last year. What we're going to do this year is what we're going to do this year, and we can't focus on the past. So right now, it's just keeping that same mentality, and that's the swarm mentality. When all that fails, what are we going to do? We're going to go out there and swarm, and so that's what type of team we're going to be heading into this new season. Thank you.
All right.
I'm doing all these things.
Man, Will Anderson. It's easy. It's easy to like the guy. The trade last year, I think it's still to be determined. I think even if he doesn't get that 1%, you can make a case that it wasn't a bad trade. I don't think you should ignore the draft equity. And the other thing is, if he gets that 1%, he talked to me about in Las Vegas. Look the hell out, because that could be. I mean, just imagine that type of game record. Oh, by the way, Daniil Hunter and Danico Autry are here too. And you've added some stuff on offense, man. It's going to be fun. But of all the things that could potentially happen, Will Anderson reaching that 1%, huge thing. 51 weeks ago, they changed the projection of the franchise, and it's been fun to watch. Be sure to subscribe, like, right along. It is The Locker Room. That was Will Anderson. Always remember, when it comes to this Texan stuff, we're all in it together. See you at Daily Sports Club Saturday on day 3 of the draft, starting at 11 o'clock. It's going to be popping. Myself, Figgy Fig Media, Cody Stutes from H Football, and his channel. It's going to be fun. Times are great. Subscribe, like, right along. We're all in it together.
Landlock, got the game in the headlock, localized every time, can't stop, won't stop. Yeah, top 2 and we not too, plugged in, daily digital on YouTube.